All right, now that we are doing a bunch of teaching online, essentially, or with a different modality, we're doing more teaching from behind a computer, and I want to share some tips that I have found extremely helpful over the last couple years in my own teaching with a computer, which I do all the time now. I don't really use the whiteboard for much these days. And these are basically tips that make things a little bit more efficient with a little bit less fumbling. So there isn't anything groundbreaking here. There's nothing here that you couldn't do with other software, but this is sort of stuff to make the whole process smoother and more efficient for you. Okay, so let's see what we've got. So first, sharing stuff with students. I have a couple little things here. These are both pretty quick, the things that I want to talk about. So the first thing is give students a public link to a Dropbox folder. So you all probably have Dropbox, I think, on your computers. Just in case you're not aware of the public link thing, the way this works is it's one of your folders. You give them just a link to that little folder, and students can just see that little folder without seeing any other folders that are above it. So, for example, here is my 134 folder where I have grades and a test bank and some other stuff. This right here is my shared folder where this is where I just keep the syllabus, where I put midterm reviews, where I put notes. So as I work on notes, I just save them here. So for example, these are my my section 1.1 notes. Anyways, so what you do is, to make this work, is you just right click on the folder that you want to get a public link for. And if you have Dropbox installed, there should be a thing in this context menu that says copy Dropbox link. So when you copy that Dropbox link, it will say that was copied, and you head over to Canvas, and on the front page of Canvas, you just paste that link. And when the students click on this link, it takes them to Dropbox.com, where they get a thing that looks kind of like this. This looks a little different for me. Like, I can actually go up to my Math 134 folder and change the grades because I'm logged into Dropbox. But when the students do it, it looks a little different. I guess I can open Microsoft Edge, where I'm not logged in right now, and type in that thing so you can see what it looks like to students. And yeah, this is what it looks like to them. They don't have the ability to change anything or go to any other folders above this, but they can go to my notes subfolder, and if they want to see those notes because they missed class or they couldn't write stuff down fast enough or whatever, they can get those notes here. Okay, so that is that is especially convenient because what a lot of other people do is they take their completed notes and they upload every file to Canvas. I just realized had that open in a different program. So they upload every file to Canvas one at a time, and that's kind of tedious. This way you can just save things, and the students immediately have access to it by clicking that link that I have on the front page of Canvas. Okay, the next thing is what I do with Google Calendars. I just find Google Calendars to be so darn convenient for myself and also for students. I've gotten good feedback from students about this method too. So here's basically what it looks like. I make a Google Calendar for each class, and from within Canvas, this is the front page of my Canvas, students see the Google Calendar. And if they are logged into their Google account and they click this plus Google Calendar button down here, then it will basically subscribe their own Google Calendar app to this thing, which means that all they have to do is take out their phone and open their Google Calendar app, which you can do with an iPhone too. It doesn't have to be Android, as long as you have the Google Calendar app. And you want to see what's due next week. You can click on, well, next week is spring break, so there's nothing due then. But you could click on 2.3 homework is due, and this works. This is mostly convenient with paper homework. And it says what problem numbers in the description. But this is mostly for paper homework. If you're using Wiley Plus or any kind of online homework, you'd have to put the due dates up twice on the internet, and that's kind of a pain because if you change it, you have to remember to change it in both places. So there's also oh yeah, coming up, I'm moving things onto Wiley Plus instead of doing paper homework. So this is the last due date I'm going to put up there for that. I'm also putting links to the videos that I'm putting up. So they can click these to see what videos I want them to watch on the first Monday back from spring break, and that link takes them to YouTube. All right, so anyways, so that's convenient. You might be saying, well, there's already a calendar app on Canvas, but this only works for certain kinds of like built-in Canvas items. I'm not sure. I'm not the best Canvas expert out there, but I know if you have built-in Canvas assignments or Canvas test dates, those will show up there. But if you just want to make an announcement like when is spring break, for example, or when is a regular midterm in class, I don't know of a way to put that on the Canvas calendar. So that's why I prefer using Google Calendars for that. Okay, so that is sharing stuff with students. The main stuff I wanted to talk about here was this new modality we're all teaching with now, where we're sitting behind a computer to do a lot of our teaching, and it can be awkward and tedious, and there can be a lot of fumbling sometimes. So these are tips for specifically that. So my first thing is get a separate keyboard. It could be a Bluetooth wireless keyboard or a plug-in USB keyboard, and it sits beside your tablet. The reason is when you have a whatever kind of tablet or laptop you have that you're writing with, if the keyboard is attached to it, it's really hard and awkward to use the keyboard and the pen at the same time. And that's all fine and good if you're just going to sit there only writing stuff. But what if you have to do something else with your computer at the same time? Like if I want to quickly switch to my calculator app, I can just press Alt-Tab to get there. Or if I want to quickly switch to a website and show students something on a website, or quickly switch to the textbook. Here's my statistics textbook that I'm using. So all of that and everything else you can do with the keyboard is you might want to do both. You never know. It's a lot more flexible if you can do both at the same time. And that needs to be a separate keyboard to go next to your tablet for that to work nicely. I'm actually going to skip and do this out of order to the third thing here. Set up a utility that makes a keyboard shortcut for capturing a screenshot of a rectangular region of your screen and copies it to the clipboard. I use a program called ShareX for this, which is very customizable, and I like it a lot, but it takes a lot of work to set up, so you maybe don't want to use that. The built-in window snipping tool also apparently does this, but it doesn't work for me the way I need to paste images into this software I'm using right here. But you might be able to make it work with a window snipping tool. I used to use a thing called Jing. I don't know if that exists anymore. There used to be one called Snagit. There's one called Greenshot. I tried, it was pretty good, but I don't know what else other people are using for this. So let me show you why this is so useful, especially when you're like doing online office hours in a Zoom conference, or something like that, and the student asks for help with number 2.112 in your statistics class. I just pressed a keyboard shortcut that I know because I do it all the time, and select that part of the screen and go over here and paste it in right here. And here's the problem that they're asking about, and you can immediately start writing on it. Like, oh, the 10th percentile looks like it's about here-ish. I don't know, maybe about 2.5, 2.6. 75th percentile looks about here. And you can immediately start writing on it that way. Maybe it's more like here. I don't know. So that is really, really handy. And it's something I just do all the time for all kinds of things. Like if I'm making a study guide, I might want to just get a bunch of problems from the textbook and put them all in one place so I can project it on the screen for students. And be like, okay, let's do that one, and then get another one. I don't know, let's look at 114. And grab that one and paste it right here. And it's just really quick and easy if you have it as a keyboard shortcut is the key there, because it's such a common thing to do. It'll make things a lot more efficient and less awkward if you can do that quickly. Okay, so anyways, now I'm going to go back to this one. The software I'm using right now is called PDF Annotator, which is an extremely vague name because there's a lot of other software out there that also do PDF annotation, but this is the one that's called PDF Annotator. And I love it because it's highly customizable. It has keyboard shortcuts for every darn thing you might want a keyboard shortcut for. I'll show you some examples of that in a second. The downside is that it costs $70. But I paid the $70 once 2.5 years ago, and I've been using it every day since then, so it was very well worth it for me. Anyways, let me show you what I mean by it's highly customizable. So right now I'm in full screen mode. This is my entire screen that is being captured right now. And full screen mode is great, especially when you're projecting something on a screen and you don't have that much real estate to do math compared to the whiteboards, which take up, the whole room. So I like to get every inch, but I can get out of full screen mode by just pressing escape. And then here's my toolbars and stuff. So I'll show you what I mean by how customizable it is. If I go to settings, there are settings for every darn thing you might want to mess with in this program, which is really nice for me. And my favorite thing is the keyboard shortcut. So anything that you can do to interact with the screen, or with the software, I meant to say, you can set a keyboard shortcut for. So for example, here's one that I set. I undo things all the time where I just make a little mistake. As I'm writing, a lot of the time I write down the word that I'm saying out loud when I meant to be writing down something else. I just press R and it just undoes whatever the last letter or pen stroke that I wrote down was. So I use that a lot. I also have keyboard shortcuts for my favorite tools. So here you can see F, D, S, and A, the home row of my left hand, is for my favorite colored pen. So I have a black pen, a green pen, a blue pen, and a red pen. And I have a bunch of other favorite tools thing. I'll just show you what that looks like. So you can get different colored pens and highlighters really quickly here without having to pick up the pen and go over to the toolbar to change something. So that is handy. It has really good line drawing tools. So when I press W, I can draw a straight black line. It shows, I don't know if you can read that, but it shows you the angle it's at there. If I hold shift while I'm doing that, it sticks it to 15-degree angles. So it's really easy to draw axes like that, or if you want to draw a 60, 30, 90 triangle, that makes it pretty easy. Then you can do this, and let's say that like I made this too big, and I need it to take up less space, because like I said, you run out of real estate a lot when you're trying to do all of your teaching on a little screen. I have a keyboard shortcut for lasso select that will select that, and then I can make it smaller, move it around or whatever. So there's that. Another cool thing is if you hold control, like let's say I want to draw a tangent line to a certain curve here, right here. I can, if I press control while I'm drawing a line, then it will do this sort of thing. I don't know how to describe it, but like it will pivot around the point where you started drawing it. So you can draw tangent lines like that. Just a cool little thing. Let's see. Yeah, I also have keyboard shortcuts for undo, like I said. So if I made some mistakes here, I can just undo those things. Or I have one for redo as well. So I actually wanted that there. So there's that. So yeah, that's my stuff. That's what I do. If you want any tips for PDF Annotator, I can give you a list of all of the customizations I made for it that work for me. Or if you have any other questions about any of this stuff, if it went by a little fast here, I'm happy to help with it. And I'm looking forward to seeing what else other people have to show me on Canvas and ConferZoom at the meeting tomorrow. Or if you're watching this in the future, maybe it was the meeting yesterday or a few days ago. I don't know. Anyways, I hope everybody's coronavirus quarantine is going well, and I'll see you all at the meeting.